everyone, today we are going to understand a very new chapter, that is Animal Kingdom. So, in this chapter we are going to understand the basics of this Animal Kingdom in this lecture. So, first of all, what do you mean by animals? Let's see some basic characteristics that all the animal possesses. First characteristics of an animal is that multicellularity. Multicellularity. What does this mean? This means that an organism is made up of more than one cells. There are two terms, unicellular and multicellular. As we know that animal is the higher level of organism, so they have multicellularity in them. That means they are made up of more than one cells. Multicellularity in the scientific ways we say as metazoans. Those organisms which consist of more than one cells are known as metazoans. So we can say that animals are one types of metazoans. Second property is that they are heterotrophs. And from the childhood we all know that what is the meaning of heterotrophs. Heterotrophs means that those organisms which are dependent on plants and other animals to obtain their food. That means that animals do not make their own food by themselves. Third is that they perform holozoic mode of nutrition. Holozoic mode of nutrition. Now what does this word means? Holozoic. This means that the organism must first ingest the food and then digest it. As we all the animals do. As you know that humans are one type of animal, so let's take an example of human that will be easy for you to understand. What is the meaning of ingestion? Ingestion means taking the food inside. That means we say it eating. And digestion means conversion of food into simpler substances. So what do? First we eat the food and then digest into our stomachs. Not first we digest and then ingest. Yes, there are some organisms which first digest and then ingest. For example, mushrooms and all the saprophytic organisms. As you all know that mushrooms grow on dead and rotten things. So let's suppose this is a dead log of wood and here are mushrooms growing on it. What will the mushrooms do? That it will secrete some chemicals that will decompose the layer of our log, and this log will be converted into simpler substances, and conversion of food material, heavy food material into simpler substances is known as digestion. So what are these doing? First they are digesting their food and after that they will just absorb it by their hyphas. Hyphas are some root-like structures in the mushrooms and saprophytic plants. So they will just ingest it by absorbing it from the log of food. So this is the process of digestion ingestion in the mushrooms. But we do not follow this rule. We follow holozoic mode of nutrition, which means we first ingest the food and then digest it. Now moving to fourth is that it is all the animals are chordates. Chordate is an exclusive features of chordate only, because chordate means there are notochord present or absent. In the further lectures we will understand what is chordates. Chordates is another phylum of an organism. Okay. So now let's first of all categorize our animal kingdom. So animals can be categorized into two types on the basis of primitive or new generations. First is parazoans and second is eumetazoans. And by the name, I hope that you will understand what are they mean. U means we already in the previous chapter, in the previous classes, we have understand that U always means true in biology. For example, eukaryotic cells, as you all know, which have true nucleus. So similar cases here, that U means true And metazoans, we already talked about that, multicellular. So these are true multicellular organisms. And parazoans is exactly opposite, that they are false metazoans. What do I mean by false and true metazoans? False metazoans means that they are multicellular. Yes, they have more than one cells, but the cells are just aggregated singularly. They are not forming one function and making a tissue. As we all know that cell make tissue, tissue make organ, organ make organ system. So in these parazoans, so these are the very primitive ones. So we can write one thing that these are very primitive one, and they only have a cellular aggregation, nothing else, just some cells placed in a bundle. Okay, and here there is a proper tissue system or with organ system, organ grade of organization. We will understand it later in this lecture only. Okay, so one and only example of parazoans is Porifera. This is Porifera is the simplest type of organism in the whole animal kingdom, and every smaller class you can say are categorized under Poriferas. And now next is Eumetazoans. Let's see. First is our Coelenterata. Coelenterata. It is also known as Cnidaria. Next is our Ctenophora. Coelenterata, Ctenophora, then Platyhelminthes, then Aschelminthes, Aschelminthes are also known as nematodes. We will understand all these one by one, don't need to worry. So, Coelenterata, Ctenophora, Platyhelminthes, Aschelminthes. Now, after Aschelminthes comes Annelida, then Arthropoda, then Echinodermata, Hemichordata, and Chordata. So these are the subphylums that we all, first of all, this is subphylum. Parazoans and metazoans are the subphylum, while Porifera to Coelenterata and till Chordata are the phylums. You have to know it properly, which is kingdom, which is phylum, which is subphylum. Okay, so these are all the names of the phylum, and you should learn it. This is not that you should learn it in one go. You should learn it by eventually. And I think that in this lecture we will repeat these terms too many times that you will learn it in the classes. So these are the phylums. Now, if we see an organism, first question arises that how we will classify them. So now we are going to understand the basis of classification on which organisms like Porifera, Coelenterata, Ctenophora, Platyhelminthes, Aschelminthes, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, Hemichordata and Chordata are divided. You have to speak these all the phylums again and again so that you can learn it faster. Now comes our basis of classification. So, first basis of classification on which these are classified is our level of organization. Okay, so level of organization is first level of organization is our cellular level. And from the name you can understand that cellular level means they have only cells present in it. So what do you think? Which would come in the cellular grade of organization? Absolutely right, that is Porifera. and these are the most primitive ones, so they will always lie under the lowest category, that is cellular grade of organization is present in Poriferas. Second comes our um, tissue grade of organization, and this tissue grade of organization comes in Coelenterata and Ctenophora. You know, most of the times you will see these Coelenterata and Ctenophora together. All the characteristics of Coelenterata and Ctenophora are same. So these are known as twin sisters. So Coelenterata and Ctenophora have the same characteristics most of the times. But yes, exception lies always. Next is organ system. Organ grid of organization. In NCERT it is given that organ grid of organization starts from Platyhelminthes. So this is our Platyhelminthes. And next is our organ system level of organization, which goes from Aschelminthes to Chordata. From Aschelminthes to Chordata is our organ system grid of organization. Now this is first level of organization, and you have to understand that cellular grade of organization is Porifera, tissue grade of organization Coelenterata and Ctenophora, organ grade of organization come in Platyhelminthes, and organ system grade of organization is from Aschelminthes to Chordata. Now next level of classification is on the basis of body plan. Yes, it is not given in the NCERT directly, but you can see that in the paragraphs of Porifera, Coelenterata and all these are somewhere it is given about the body plan. And by understanding body plan, you will always also understand the digestive system. Okay, so let's see. First, body plan is just a cellular aggregation. And guess what? Who comes in it? Yes, you are right that Porifera has the cellular grade of organization. Hence, it has just cellular aggregation in it and no tissue, no anything. So, it is our Porifera. Next comes our blind sac. This is our blind sac body organization, body plan. Blind sac body plan means that organism has only one opening. One opening is acting as a mouth and its anus. For example, let me draw here. Let's suppose this is an organism. You will understand this in the Poriferas and Poriferas. Okay, so this is an organism which have only one opening. Only one opening. And this opening is the one which is the mouth plus the anus of the organism. So only one opening which acts as mouth and anus. Both ingestion and digestion, both ingestion and excretion happens by this one opening. So which organism come into it? First is our Coelenterata and obviously Ctenophora also. But the most important, let me highlight it, that Platyhelminthes also comes in the blind sac body plan. Always remember that Coelenterata and Ctenophora come together. We forget about the Platyhelminthes. This is very important that Platyhelminthes also have blind sac body plan. Now next body plan comes is tube within tube body plan. What you can understand by tube within tube body plan? That means there is a tube, a hollow tube. Let's suppose this is our gut, and another tube is covering it from the outside. This is our outer lining. Okay, so this is the tube within tube body plan. You can understand it by the pen and refill. The glass part of the pen is our what we can say. The glass part of the pen is the inside tube, the gut one, and the outer is the outer covering of the. Let me show you. So this is a glass pen, you can see, and if you open it, this is the gut one, and this is the outer tube. So if we put it inside, this looks like the tube within tube body plan. And you can see that there are two openings. One is at the upper part and second is at the lower part. So in this tube within tube body plan, there is one portion for the ingestion and one portion is for the excretion. Ingestion from the upper part and excretion from the lower part. So this comes from Ascalmenthes to the chordata. Ascalmenthes up to chordata comes in the tube within tube body plan. Okay. So now next basis of classification is our symmetry. And I know you must have read about symmetry in your junior classes. That symmetry is of three types. First is our asymmetrical. Second is our bilaterally symmetrical. And third is our radially symmetrical. So first is asymmetrical, means that A means what? A means not. So asymmetrical means that organism cannot be divided into two planes even by putting the planes in any direction. Means by any part you cannot just divide the organism into two equal parts. Let me just show you by an example. For example, yes, so this is an tree. Okay, so if we divide it from this plane, can you see two equal parts? No. From this plane, neither two equal parts. So this is known as asymmetrical, from which any plane we can pass any line. It will not show any two equal parts. What is bilateral symmetrical? Means there is one plane from which we can pass and the organism will be divided into two parts. For example, I just put a line here. So you can see the left part is equal to the right part. That means that the tree is divided into two equal halves. So this is bilaterally symmetrical. And if we try from any other region, it will not be symmetrical. That means it is only divided from one plane. Now next is our radially symmetrical. For this we can see a star. Starfish are actually the example of radially symmetrical organisms. So in this we can just put any line from any plane. It will always divide it into two equal halves. So this is known as radially symmetrical. So let's see which organisms are asymmetrical. Yes, Porifera. Porifera, the lowest organisms are the asymmetrical. Next comes bilaterally symmetrical. First, let me tell you what is radially symmetrical. It is Coelenterata, Ctenophora, and Echinodermata. But see, there is a catch. Echinodermata, only the adult one are the radially symmetrical. And the larva ones, Echinodermata means example starfish. So the larva of the starfish, that is the smaller stage of the starfish, is bilaterally symmetrical. But as the starfish grows, it becomes adult and it is radially symmetrical. So now bilaterally symmetricals are from Platyhelminthes up to Chordata, where the Echinodermata larva one comes in it. Okay, so this is the basis of classification on the basis of symmetry. Now next thing is the germ layers. So what is germ layer? One second. Yes, so what is germ layer? There are two types of animal on the basis of germ layer. First is our diploblastic organism, and second is our triploblastic organism. So diploblastic organism, let me show you a image of the diploblastic organisms or the cellular aggregation of diploblastic organisms so that you can just understand it very carefully. So diploblastic and triploblastic. Let me make a ball of cells. This is the outer layer, this is inner one, this is the most important. So these are all these cells. This is also cells. Let me make one for triploblastic also. So this, the inner one is known as endoderm. Endoderm. The between one is known as, let me tell you later. And this is our ectoderm. The outer layer is known as ectoderm and the inner layer is known as endoderm. Here similar, this is known as endoderm. Outer layer is known as endoderm. And here the middle layer is known as mesoderm. But in this you can see that I have leave a space for mesoderm. This is why, because there is no mesoderm present in diploblastic organisms. Hence they have two layers, we can say ectoderm and endoderm only. But there is a jelly-like substance between it, that is known as mesoglea. This is a jelly-like substance that is known as mesoglea. And sometimes it also gives gel-like appearances to the organisms. So as you can see in the Hydra. Hydra is an example of Coelenterata. You will understand it later that they have the middle portion is mesoglea, which is large in amount, and the Hydra structures look like jelly. Okay, so this is our mesoglea present between it. Now, as you can see here, why it is known as diploblastic and triploblastic. Di means two and tri means three. So here are two derms, that is ectoderms and endoderms, as we are understanding our germ layers. And here is ectoderm, endoderm and mesoderms, that means three layers. Let's see which organism comes in it. So diploblastic organism only comes Coelenterata and Ctenophora. Okay, Coelenterata and Ctenophora. Coelenterata and Ctenophora comes in it. Actually the board is going downwards, no problem, we will write it straight now. So Coelenterata and Ctenophora comes in diploblastic organism. You will ask that why we didn't organize Porifera in it. As you all know that Poriferas are just simplest form of animals in the whole animal kingdom. They have only cellular aggregation in them. So how can they form germ layers which are made up of multiple cells and they are organized properly? So in the Porifera there is no case of any germ layer. Hence we do not categorize it inside diploblastic or triploblastic as. Next comes our triploblastic. Triploblastic organisms are from Platyhelminthes up to Chordata. So these are the organisms, Platyhelminthes up to Chordata. From Platyhelminthes up to Chordata are triploblastics, means they have three germs layer: ectoderm, endoderm and mesoderms. Okay, so these are also two bases of classification. Now we are going to understand something about coelom. So now next basis of classification is our coelom. Can you guess what coelom is? Coelom is the body cavity. Body cavity present inside the organism to place the organs. Let me show you. For example, this is a human. So this is a human, and here is its gut, alimentary canal you can say. So the areas that is present in the in the human outside the gut is the body cavity present, which is helpful in the placement of organ like heart, we can say lungs, digestive system, circulatory system. Everything is placed inside of the body cavity, coelom. Okay. So this body cavity comes from where? This body cavity comes from the division of the mesoderm. We have studied the triple plastic organisms, that is mesoderm, ectoderms and endoderms. So mesoderms, the splitting of mesoderms makes the our what? Coelom. Okay. So I have said that it splits the mesoderm, and you can understand it that those organisms which are diploblastic do not have mesoderms, and hence they don't have body cavity also, that is coelom. So coelom are three types. Okay, first is our acoelomate, and you can understand by the name that these organisms do not have any coelom. Second is our pseudocoelomate. Pseudocoelomate? Yes, pseudocoelomate. And next is our coelomate. Coelomate means true coelomate. From this pseudocoelomate word, you might be surprised that pseudo you have understand in the like pseudopodia, that is false feet. Similar is here that false coelom. Let me show you how coelom is. Yes. So let's draw a acoelomate organism. So this is our what? Ectoderm. This is mesoglea, and this is our endoderm. This is our endoderm. This is our ectoderm, and this place is endoderm. Hence, there is no mesoderm present. Instead, there is mesoglea, so they cannot divide, and hence they are known as acoelomate. Next comes our pseudocoelomate. Let it be. We will understand pseudocoelomate later. First, let's see coelomate. So coelomate, here is the ectoderm, then comes our mesoderm, then okay, so this is our endoderm, this is the mesoderm, this is also mesoderm, and here outer area is known as ectoderm. As you can see, I have shown two mesoderms, right? And the space between them, this one, is known as coelom. Okay, they have mesoderm which splits into two halves. Okay, and makes the coelom or body cavity. So here we can see a true coelom present. Here we can see no coelom as there is no mesoderm. Now, what does pseudocoelomate means? False coelom? Yes, exactly. In the false coelomate, we have like pouches of the coelom. So not true coelomate, but they have only pouches of coelomate which sometimes acts like coelom. Okay, so it look like this is our ectoderm, and here's our some pouches of mesoderms. Okay, which act as our pseudocoelomate. Okay, so this is the pouches of mesoderm which act as pseudocoelomate. So acoelomate, what are these organisms? Yes, Coelenterata, our Ctenophora, and surprisingly platyhelminthes also. Just mark it down, it is very important. You will forget it. Okay, platyhelminthes here. I will tell you. They have mesoderm, but why did it not split? I will tell you. Just wait. Or else, let me tell. In the mesoderm of the platyhelminthes, it is solid form. It does not divide. It is solid. Okay, that's why it is platyhelminthes. In the acoelomate, it contains mesoderm in it, but it doesn't split because of the mesoderm is so in the solid state in the platyhelminthes. It's same like that you have brain but you don't use it. Okay. Now this is our pseudocoelomate, which is the only that is Aschelminthes. It is also important. Mark this. So Aschelminthes comes under pseudocoelomate. And next is our coelomate, that is from annelida up to chordata. Okay, so this is our body cavity, that is coelom. Last topic is left. Two last topics are left. First is the segmentation. What does segmentation means? That the repetition of some organs or some body parts multiple times. Like you have seen in the cockroach chapter that the hearts are multiplied multiple times, that is 13 times approx. So in the cockroach 13 hearts are there, which shows metameric many times of the our, what we can say, organs, which is known as segmentation. So let's see. Segmentation only comes in organism like arthropoda, annelida, and chordata. How chordata? And which part multiplies many times? Yes, you can see our bones, right? Our rib cages, our sternum, our backbone. These are made up of small vertebrates. Okay, hence they are multiplied many times. So they are known as segmented organism, or we can say metameric organism. Last is our notochord, that is exclusive feature of our chordate kingdom. Phylum chordate. Okay, so notochord is the exclusive feature of our phylum, that is chordate. What is notochord? Notochord is nothing but the backbone in the organism. As you can see, the backbone in ourselves also. So this is the backbone of organism, which when we are in the embryonic stage, we call it as notochord. Okay, so this is exclusive feature of only chordates. So here we end our basic classifications of organisms in animal kingdom. Next time we will meet in the next lecture, where we will understand about poriferas and coelenterata and different types of one by one in the next lecture. So thank you.